Alright, ladies and germs, it is operating time. Very hot, but I'm gonna turn it off and suffer some more so that you can hear these words of wisdom. Of course, a lot of people are gonna take issue with this as an attack on America. It's apparently America and capitalism, not the freedom to trade with each other and to affect how we're taxed, but no. It's the capitalism itself, the accrual of capital that makes America American, right? But here's my biggest thing about these libertarian types, these anarcho-capitalists, that I don't understand. They say, and even people in general, and I get where this criticism comes from, because we've got a lot of issues with our infrastructure and our roads and things, but they say, the government doesn't have any incentive to do a good job or to finish it in a timely manner because in the free market of things, companies would compete ferociously to make the very best product that they can to please the consumer. And I'm thinking, dude, Ford? I don't know what car it was. They literally had cars that exploded. They're back in like the early 19th century, or 20th century rather, we were just making stuff and we had no idea what we were doing environmentally. And by environmentally, I don't mean like, oh no, the great spotted cocked dick owl is gonna go extinct. No, I mean like, there was stuff in New York neighborhoods that seeped into the groundwater. I think they're PCBs or something related to them. In Newton Creek or something like that, but it caused entire like American Italian neighborhoods to get bone cancer at record rates, and that stuff is still floating around. It's just deep in there. So there you go. That was your unrestricted market, and despite pressure from the public and the government, these companies weren't trying to make these things get cleared up. So what are you talking about? Here's the other thing that happens when you have private entities doing things for you. You end up, because they're the most effective and the bestest, you end up having the two biggest companies, and they're not necessarily going to be the biggest companies because they are the most effective. They're the ones that have been able to, through either clever marketing or buying up the shares through sheer startup capital of their investors, that is going to have the corner on the market. You're going to have things like you got your Microsofts and your Apples and your Fords, etc., except for the road construction, if only roads were private. Well, then you're going to have to deal with the same kind of malaise that happens with my company that I work for, UPS, where all of these logistics companies, you don't want to know how the sausage is made, in the words of Bismarck. All right, guys. And these are all private, hunky-dory friggin' companies. And the thing about this is like, okay, suppose we lived in this completely anarchist state. Anarcho-capitalist, right? Well, it would eventually develop a structure anyway. Like, in order to respond to these different competing claims of these companies, people would then set up councils. And those councils would basically become governing bodies. So, it's just absolute nonsense. Like, absolute nonsense. So what you're saying, we should all be capitalists and be putting people in the gulags? It's like, no, dude, no. Shut the fuck up. I don't understand this need of extremes. I don't get it. I don't get it as much as I don't get why I'm trying to do this right now in the heat. Anyway, maybe my brain is so fried that I feel I'm actually going to make an effect on people's ideation. But yeah, guys, tell me what you think below, because this to me is just so basic. I don't understand how these ideas just float around in a serious manner But again, we got flat earthers. So, well, you're getting flat earthers with anarcho-capitalists? I kind of am. You know, I like a lot about the attitude, about like this idea of extreme self-reliance. Great. Unfortunately, it seems to me that what happens more often than not is you have the moral expectation of other people to do those things, and then you don't live up to the standard. So basically, you're just kind of like escaping reality via sitting on a high horse, even though you yourself are probably as bad or worse than the people you criticize for being, you know, dependent and trapped in the matrix, man. And I really don't want to like crap on these alternative type of people, because I'm an alternative kind of guy. But I just like, you can believe in self-sufficiency and still be realistic about it. You know what I'm saying? Cheers.